Hello guys, welcome back. So this is a continuation of what we started, the array method. So if you're seeing this for the first time, please do yourself a favor of going to watch the part 1 of this, where we explore all these functions. So today is just to continue from where we left off. So if you go back here, you see this is what we've got, where we can remove element from any of these, and we can add more elements, we can add more user as we want, like that, and then remove any elements like that as we want, kemi, add kemi, and all of that to whichever position. So and then now you can remove the first element, which will remove kemi. But what if you want to, instead of removing the first element, who you want to remove is this ngozi, though you have multiple ngozi here. So you want to remove this element irrespective of their position. You want to just go and delete any of the elements. In this case, you want to be able to delete any user irrespective of their position. So that's going to be the first implementation we'll be doing, and we're going to be making use of the function, the array method that you know. All right, so what we're going to do would be to first of all go to where we are rendering and just ensure that we have our button in place. So here, so let's come in and put in the button, and then let's have the button called delete. Okay, so you can style it. I'm not focused on styling. So we have this button right here. So if this button is clicked on, we want to be able to delete that user. So let me put it on the, so let's say I have HR here. Okay, all right, so I can have that button right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to make it functional, because that button, if you click on it now, nothing happens. So let me just undo the event on it, on click, and we'll have the handle the on click of it. So let's say that I have on click equals to, then I say delete user, delete user. Okay, that method like that. Okay, so then I just go straight into writing the function, and then say delete user. Now to delete the user, we are going to be using splice, array.splice method. Okay, array.splice method. So the array, a reminder, is quick reminder of how array.splice work. So when you splice, you specify the index, that's where you're splicing from, the start number, and then how many elements you want to remove there. For instance, let's say you have 10 elements, 10 users in an array, all right, and then you want to remove from 5 downward, you want to remove them. So you can just specify the start and then say 5. So this would remove from index 5, remove 5 elements. Or we can say maybe from index 8, from 8 elements, remove 5 elements, or remove 2 elements, or remove 3 elements as you want it. So in this case, we have list of users which we don't know them. They can be 100, they can be 300, they can be 5, they can be 10. We want to be able to delete a user from a particular index, right? From a particular index of that element in the array. We just remove only one user. Okay, so the array that we're using in this case is users. That's what we have been using. Users, that we have it declared. We have it declared right here. We have our users. These are our users that we're dealing with, which is this array. So from that we would say users.splice, and so the start, if you look at the signature of splice, you see what I've just explained. The start number, if you look at the signature, start number, and then delete counts, which will be how many you want to delete. So the start number in this case will be the index of that element in that array. Unfortunately, we don't have this index, so we have to get it from an argument. So let's create a parameter here. So we say index, and then we have that users of splice index. Okay, then how many elements do we want to remove from there? Just only one. So the only that element will get removed. So if we say 2, that element plus its neighbor to the right will be deleted, and which will be right. So we say only 1, and that should delete that element. So if we go forward now, if we come up here, we'll see the button that we created right here, delete user. So all we need to do is just to pass in this index right here, just pass in this index, and that should, you know, work. When we click on it, it should delete the user that is on that index. So if we delete now, so yeah, so you will pass that in, and then the next thing we want to do is to render the user, so that the DOM would effectively update as soon as we have that clicked, and so we can see the effect of it. So let's test that out. Delete this user, got deleted, delete this user, got deleted, like that. But this is the kind of delete that we're doing is very bad, right? Because we're not even confirming from the user if he actually wants to delete, if he's sleeping, or he just touched this by mistake, and all of that. So if you refresh, everything comes back, we delete as we want to delete. All right, so what I'm going to do will be to confirm if the user actually wants to delete. So we can just confirm. So let's confirm delete be equals to, so we can use confirm, the basic confirm. So we can have that to be, are you sure you want to delete this user? Are you sure you want to delete this user? And in fact, to make it even more interesting, we can mention the user. So let's say we want to mention the user. Are you sure you want to, instead of saying this user, so we can just say sure, the users, which is the array, right? The index of it, that first name, which is just to simply reference this. Of course, you can also pass it through your argument if you want, but that's not. So we have, are you sure you want to delete, and then you mention the person name, so you make it more interactive. So if the user says yes, or that, so that everything wraps, so that we don't have to. Okay, then now I have if confirm deletes, that is when I will delete. If the guy does not confirm delete, then I do nothing, or I can do an else and say that okay, thank you. So if the guy confirms deletes, I'll delete. If it doesn't confirm, then we do nothing. All right, so let's test that out as well. All things being equal, are you sure you want to delete Grace? And I say okay, and then Grace delete. This is better, and this is the standard. When you're implementing delete or stuff that are very destructive, you don't make it half dropped. You have to confirm, give the user actually mean it before you commit it. Okay, this is how simple to delete an element from the array is. All right, so now the next thing we want to do will be to see how we can search. Let's say we have a lot of users now, and we want to search the fields so that the user comes up, right? So let's see how we can do that. I'm going to just go straight into adding form. So let's say here, this is where we have the refresh, add to the end. Okay, control is here, new users list is here. Okay, and then this is where we got the user. So let's say here I have one HR right here, and then I have the search box. So let's say I have a search box here, and I make the size of the search box 50, like that. Okay, and maybe we have it ID, we give it an ID, and we call it a search box right there. Okay, now so let's see how that appears. So if we like it, so we can have it like that. Okay, so this is the search box. So you can style it if you want and make it come in between in center. So what we want to do is, when we search here, keyup, we want to see only search that matches keyup to show up, all right, and not all the user, like that. And then so you can do it by maybe putting a button beside this guy, so when they search, we click on the button on click. But we've done a lot of on click, so it's time to use another event handler. So I know that you can use on click now and handle it. So why don't we use another event handler and see how that works? So here I have a number of options. I have keyup, I have blur, I have onChange. So, and I will explain each of them so we know why we're choosing what we choose to use. All right, so here, so let's say we use this event handler on keyup, and then we say search user. On keyup, we'll create a method search user. Right, I will explain what I'm doing. So here we have function search user. Okay, so on keyup we're going to be searching the user. So the first thing we want to do, let's say it says console, let's get the user that the query, what the user type in that box. So let's put that into a variable called search query. So let's call that search query, and then getting the element will of course target get elements by ID. Sorry, get elements by ID. The ID that we pass in, I guess we'll call it search box. Search box I guess, and then we have the value to get the value in there. Alright, so first off, let's be sure that all things are well. So since what we're using is keyup, each time something is typed in, would receive an update. So let's put an eye on the console. Put your eye on the console, you get to see here when you type A, you see A there, B, so as we type, we'll see everything in there. Okay, so but what we want to do is to as the user type, we want to filter what the user is typing in. Okay, so and then so we can get this off the track. It was just for debugging. So we say users, which is the array that we have defined early. So we have that filter. So we have our array defined up here. Remember, of course, we just use it for the splice. So you have it here, users. So we want to filter based on what the what is typed in here. So we say users of filter, and then of course these are predicates, right? So here I have the user, which is the elements in the user, such that user dot, I just want to check anyone. Maybe we're just searching by first name, which won't be right, maybe because the box we put in, we have to type in there search by only first name. So let's start by only first name. So we say user dot first name. So here we cannot use equal to what is coming, but because we are receiving it by stroke. So A, for instance, nobody's first name is A. So maybe our intention is that anyone whose first name contains the character that is being typed in. So if we use equality sign, it's going to be watching out for match for match. Your first name is exactly equals to what is being typed in. You know, so in some instances that might be what we're looking for. Excuse me. But in this instance, what we're looking for is just a path match, and that's why we'll say includes. So for instance, if my name is Kenny, and if someone types K, it will bring out my name because my name contains Kenny. If you know, someone types KE, it comes out still. But if I say I'm using equality sign, you know, and I put what the person is, so the person type K, because my name is Kenny, it's not K, I won't show up, right? So what we're looking for is a path match, you know, and not the distance. But like I said, in some instances you may be looking for the exact match word for word. So let's say this includes, and then we'll pass in this search query like this. We'll pass in this search query like this. All right, so that would get all the path match. Any first name, remember we're only searching by first name, that have that will have a path match. Okay, so but your filter doesn't work like every other array method that we have used, which modifies the original array. What we are saying is that here, when we use this, we do not have to bother that what, you know, are we creating a new array, or you know, the original array is what we are modifying. But this one here, the moment you do this, you have two different elements: the filter data and the original data, original users. So users who matches what you filtered, and the original array is still there. So what we are saying is that if you render the user now, you won't see the effect, because this one is talking to the original users. This render here is rendering the original users. All right, and here when we are what we have filtered here has created a new array by itself. So we check what it returns, if you check what this returns, you will see that it's not the same. Or let's alert it or console log it. Alert will be too much because the keystroke. So when we say console.log and then we log the filtered data, you would see what we have here. Okay, now so if you have this, the filtered data is this AB. Filter data is now empty. Filter data is empty right here because none of this data contains AB. None of it has AB following, you know, sequentially. None of the first name has AB following sequentially. Again, our search is not, you know, looking for the what's it called, the fonts case. Maybe it's lowercase or uppercase. So what will handle that? Okay, so what I have said here is that we would rather pass users, so modifying the content of the original user to the filtered user so that our render works as it should. Our render works as it should. So let me have this like this. Okay, so we search user and then we have this guy right here. Okay, now if we come here and search, you know, when I type C, this is the only person that has C, but it's not only person that has C though. Caleb also has C in his first name, but then when I type this C here, only Grace shows up. You know why? Because Caleb C is capital letter and Grace C is small letter. So if we're typing a match, are we saying that irrespective of this of the letter or of the case, is this capital, you should ignore it? So you can use a regress in that regard, you know, or you can just convert everything. So let's say the first name converted to lowercase first. It should be you want it converted to lowercase and then do the match in the same case. The first name converted to lowercase to local lowercase. No, just say to lowercase, simple. All right, to lowercase, and then the search query too, even if the person is typing in capital letter, you want to convert it to lowercase so that what you're searching and where you're searching from, you convert all of them to the same case. So you can just the search that way works more effectively. Now, so if you look at it now, if you refresh, now if we type C, we have 2. Caleb is also now present, and then Y Grace is also present. But when I say A, only Caleb has KA in it, right? So when I do this now, of course Caleb should disappear because there's nothing like a cap here. But the way we are rendering, and if you look at the console, this must have thrown an error in the console because the element is already, if you look at it, so you can see SVG attributes, view box expected at least one element. What this is speaking to is that here we assume that users will always contain elements, and now when we have filtered cap, users is empty entirely. Users is empty and there's no element in it. Okay, there's no element in it, and that's why it threw up that error. So if there's no user, if after searching this and that is not available, what we should see is that no user found with whatever name this is called. Like this is there's no user like this. Okay, so what we're going to do then is to check if this contains elements. If it contains element, that's when we do the rendering here. Otherwise, we'll tell that there's no users is not found. So what we're going to do here is to come here and say if users.length. So another person will say if users.length is greater than 0, but it's not required. Once you say users.length, if it is more, this will only execute if it is more than 0. If users.length, so this is a smart coding, Alt Shift F, instead of saying where is that guy again? So I just formatted it with Alt Shift F so that the code looks arranged. So if this users contains elements, checking the element so otherwise we would rather render in the user container, we'll put there that no user found, or whatever English you want to put in there, no user found. So if we so that we can see the screen more clearly, so if we type just like we did the other time, I begin to type something now, so you can see no user found. So this is correct now. This is correct. This is correct. So if we do H, none of the users H in them. If you do I, only Yanoluwa has I. So we'll begin to type also, we don't have. So if we had more users, for instance, to make it more interesting, so if you add more users to make it more interesting, now I can search now. O, those that everybody that has O in them shows up. This now is only opener, last man standing, and then every other thing works like that. This is what we want. Now, so in place of the keyup, which is at every keystroke, these triggers, we may want to use blur, and I will explain. Now, so because this is just front-end search, it works like this and it's fine. But assuming this has to go to a remote server and go and get the server, get this response, because let's say this, what you're rendering here is coming from a remote server, all right? And so each time you type something, it goes to that server, comes back before he renders, right? So by the time the guy typed the first one, he hasn't even finished the first response hasn't even come. He has typed the second one. The guy goes again to the server like that, so it won't be effective. But if it is just front-end search, like the data you're searching, just like we are doing now, is present on this DOM, so you're just manipulating it. It's okay. There's no performance issue. But if it has to go to the server to go bring it and all of those things like that, it's not desired. So what you may want to do in that case will be let the guy finish what he's typing, let him finish typing keyup before you search. So that way he's finished his thoughts and then you go search. Okay, so here, if we to do that, we will just change keyup to blur. So on keyup is every time a key is pressed, so we can put blur, which effectively work for on blur now. So here on blur, it will not work like the other one. So you say K, it's not searching yet, unlike the other one that when you type C, this is like that. It will not search yet until you leave this place here, until this loses focus. So if you say keyup, and then you do like you are done typing, that's when it searches. It doesn't search at keystroke. So this will be better if it's the server that we are going to pick data from. All right. So, but like I said, if the data is present here and you don't have to go to any server, keyup will maybe well desired because it is very fast. It searches very fast. So let's refresh again. So if I type CA until I go after here, So that is until that element loses focus before it triggers that function that you passed in here. So but even that one too has a problem. So if you do this like this, keyup, you go out this, the moment you go out of that, like you are done typing, that's when it searches. Okay, so another one that is better, is best, is because even here when you go again and you go out of it and the value did not change, it will still trigger. You know, what I mean is that let's watch out for it. Search user, so search user, so let's say we put an indicator to let us know that we are searching. In the console, so we can have, so you see, if we check here, console, so if we do our, if we do Kenny, so you can see we have searching. So if I do again, if I go to that place again, if I go to the search box again, and I didn't change anything, it loses focus again. You can see it searches again. I go there, I didn't do anything really, I just go out again, it searches again, search is now 3, go there again, just lose focus. You know, you keep increasing, keep firing this search method even though we did not change anything. So but if you use this other method, which is on change, so it works pretty much like a blur too, but you know, this would only trigger if the content changes. If the content changes, so here if we type CA, you know, it searches. If you go there, you go out again, it doesn't search because you did not change the content. You know, you go out, you did not change the content. But if the content changes, then it searches again. You understand? So this is the best if you have to go to the server like that. So she doesn't always trigger just because you lose focus and you have not typed anything. So until that changes, you know, that is when it triggers, just to throw a bit of light on that. So that is about deleting and filtering. So so the next thing we're going to do will be to have to look at how we can use more array functions. So see you in the next video.